We're recording. Go.
All right. Hey guys, welcome back to the CrossAxed Method podcast, episode number 147. I'm here with Rob in Noosa at
G'day.
First Point CrossFit.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Bit of a construction site, but
Yep.
we'll show you around. Real quickly. So this is up on our mezzanine. We're currently sitting where there'll be a pull-up rig. There'll be dumbbells over there. New balustrade, new stairs. But down over the edge there, that's my little workout.
Oh shit.
That's my little workout area down there.
Excuse my language.
Which I use before I start work for the day. And yeah, that's where we are.
Pretty exciting.
Very exciting.
Coming along at a slower pace than expected.
Slower than desired, I guess would be an accurate way to put it. So yeah.
Yep.
But painting, floor work, all the steel work on the stairs, modifying the stairs to meet the Australian standards.
Oh, yep. Got to be legal.
And then waiting for the builders to come and do the stuff that needs to be schmick.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I can build a wall, but it probably won't be straight.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I can't tile.
Handstand push-up standards on a
All that
length
stuff.
wall.
Yeah.
That won't be
Anyway.
great.
So.
Yeah, cool. So expected open date?
I wanted to open before the open, which is what we're talking about today. I wanted to. I don't think that's going to happen. It'll likely be in March. Just don't know when in March.
Yeah.
Either closer to the start or the end, who knows? I would say at this stage, we're aiming for mid-March. Once the builders get started, there's actually not that much work in it, in terms of being a builder. But yeah,
Cool.
that's where we're at. So hopefully mid-March.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yes. Yeah, should be cool.
Yeah, cool. On to the open.
Yeah.
Open's coming up.
Very quickly.
3 weeks, Friday? So like 2.5 weeks? 2
days?
And 2 weeks and...
3 weeks and 5 days?
Yeah.
No, 2 weeks and 5 days.
Something like that. Soon.
Something, yes.
Soon. Cool. What is the open? What are we doing?
Yep. So,
so
for those that don't know, I'm pretty sure everyone listens to this will know what it is, but it's the start of the qualifying for the CrossFit Games. So yeah, that's why it was started. I think 2011 was the first year from memory. Is that right? Maybe 2010.
I want to say 2010.
I think it might have been 2010. Anyway, I'll check on that. But it was started as the first qualifying section of trying to narrow down all the people in the world to find the fittest people to go forward through the regionals and then to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit different this year, the season structure.
Yes, which is frustrating.
Yes.
I get it. I feel everyone's pain. It's quite frustrating for the athletes, I'm sure, as I'm sure you can attest to. But I wish I'd just keep it the same. I thought it was going pretty good.
I thought so too.
I don't know why they changed the structure. I do feel like it was a little bit overkill with 3 weeks of the open, and then there's like all the then it's quarterfinals for every single division, and then teams, and then it was just a lot.
Yeah.
So for us, essentially from an affiliate owner's point of view, it went from 5 weeks of the open back to 3 weeks. Yes, because we can keep people motivated longer, easier.
Yeah.
Because 5 weeks, most people didn't finish the open. So 3 weeks, good. Let's get it done. Bang, bang, bang. But then from my point of view, it was then 6 months of competing and
from Feb to
stuff.
August.
Yes, all the way through. It kept going. So, so that was a bit frustrating. So one thing I do like about the change. So maybe we give a rundown of like what it is this year.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Top 1%. I should have gone through this before the podcast, but top 1% in the world.
1% in the world advance.
Yep, to the semi-finals.
Yes, but also, I'm not sure exactly what it is. I don't know if you've read this, but you also get to advance and compete with your own category. And I think that's the affiliate cup thing.
Oh, the Community Cup.
Community
We'll
Cup.
keep that aside for a sec.
Yep.
So if I want to go to the CrossFit Games,
Yes.
how do I get there?
So you do the open.
Yep.
3 weeks.
Yep.
You get to the top 1%.
Yep.
You're in there. Then you go to online semi-finals,
Yes.
which is,
So it's just cut the quarters out,
yeah,
straight to online
April,
semis.
I think, and beginning of April, maybe.
Yep. And then how many are they taking from there? Was it like 15 or 20?
I think it's 18.
18. Well, it's close.
Yeah.
Right in the middle there.
Yeah,
So
it
18
depends.
from that.
That one depends. So
Yep.
it could change
Okay.
next year.
And then there is a number of qualifying events throughout the world. Taurian Pro is one.
Yes.
Rebel Renegade Games is the other, which is
Yep.
where you're going
Africa,
in Africa.
I think.
So, yep. So what they've done that I like is they've said only people from Africa and the UAE,
Yes.
essentially, that live
Which is-
there or
What happened last year?
have the passports there, yeah. Which I think is good because it means someone from that area is going to go to the games versus, and you know, no disrespect to the guys running Taurian. I think it's a huge undertaking and a huge, amazing event. They're opening up to everyone throughout the world. So if people don't qualify in that semi-finals online,
Yes.
they're going to get flooded with athletes from out the world trying to qualify for the CrossFit Games. Is that right?
You have to qualify for Taurian through the open.
Yes. So you still have
you'd
to
need
qualify
to
for
know.
Taurian.
Yeah.
So if they're hedging their bets, if they're being smart,
They would just try to qualify for
they would try and qualify for the open, for the Taurian.
Yes.
And I would also imagine, if it's a big profile athlete, I would think that Taurian might even go, hey, you got a wild card, come on over.
Yeah.
Because that's going to increase the
Well,
spectacle of the
spectators,
event,
yeah.
right? So
They're
it makes
still
sense that
trying
they
to
would
make money.
make sense that they would do that, of course.
Yeah.
So pros and cons for both, but it means the Taurian Pro could be very competitive and have a large number of high-level athletes
Yep. Well,
attending
all these in-person qualifying
events.
have reduced their number of qualifying spots. So Taurian
Yes.
only gets 2 this year, whereas before last year was 4.
Okay.
So
they are,
and so it's so much harder.
yeah, so it's so much harder to qualify for the games because it's a reduced field. So instead of taking 40 or over 40 athletes, they're only taking 30. Is it 30 the number? I'm pretty sure it's 30 to the games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 30 to the games. Now, from a athlete's point of view, so your point of view and a coach, that sucks because it makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Doesn't really change your approach. You've still got to train as hard, right? So it's like, hey, let's go anyway, go for it. But from a spectator's point of view, I've got to be honest, it's better,
Yep.
right? So just from a spectator's point of view, like I don't watch, even when I was at the games live, I didn't watch any of the bottom heats.
No. Well,
Right, I go and watch the top 1 or 2 heats of the men, 1 or 2 heats of the women, maybe the top heat of the teams,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
But also, I know I'm not like a massive fanboy, you know, like, and I watch exercise a lot, and I think it's great, and the athletes are phenomenal, of course. But at the same time,
Well, the CrossFit
you know.
Games, you're going to see the best in the world, and then you're going to
That's
go see the best of the best in the world, and
yeah, and honestly for me as well, like that, I've spoken about this before, but you know, I was training really hard that year to try and qualify for the Masters, and
obviously.
yeah, obviously, and I was like maybe 30 spots off qualifying for the games, right? And then I got there, and I'm like, oh, go and check out like the Masters, and
Yeah.
it's like in the shed out the back.
Yeah.
With kids running around, no one's even watching, no one in the stands.
Yeah.
And you had some really good athletes in there, you know, Spieler and a few other guys. And I'm like, like I'm dedicating hours every day, 3 to 4 hours training. And then I'm like, why? Then I'm trying to reconcile why I'm doing it. And it would still be in a massive achievement. But at the same time, it really put it in its place for me as well. I'm like, look, maybe that's not the priority for me at the moment.
Yeah.
Now, if it's the top of the world, then that's a different conversation,
Yeah.
right? But and that's just me as well. That's my opinion, not everyone else's, obviously, but each to their own. So, but yeah, so that being said, you do the open, top 1%, which will be roughly 800 to 1,000 people.
Yeah. It'll be worldwide.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
No, so it'll be more than that.
Yeah. It'll be quite a lot of people.
Yeah, it'll be quite a lot. So let's say in Australia, though, you would probably need to finish top like 500 maybe to advance. Is that right? I should do this math beforehand.
I don't know how many in Australia.
So how many do we have in the Open? Roughly 50,000 in a category. So 50,000. So say there's 50,000 women, right?
Yep.
That means
1% of that.
1% of that, 5,000. Is that right?
500.
500. Fuck, this is
Should I do the
embarrassing.
Well, we're not math teachers.
1% of 100,000 is 1,000. Yeah, so 500. You're right, 500. So there must be more than 50,000 if it's only 500 in the world. Would that be right? Like how many people normally
In the world.
Oh, maybe it's no. Maybe it's closer to 100,000.
Well, how many?
Anyway, it's going to be roughly 500 to 1,000 in the world.
Yeah.
Which means in Australia, it's probably going to be like the top 100.
Yeah.
Or so.
Yeah.
To go to the semis.
Yeah.
And that's the semis. So yeah. So what I'm thinking about before was like 10%. Yeah, that'd work out. 10% is about 800 to 1,000.
Yeah.
So 1% is going to be 80 to 100. But it's semis, not quarters. So we're skipping the quarters.
Quarters, yeah.
Straight to the semis. So that means, you've got to be in that top sort of 80 to 100 in Australia to go to the semis.
Yep.
Cool. Now.
Which is, I mean, somewhat cool because you get more people advancing to the semis.
It is cool. Yeah. I mean, that side of it's
online, that's the only thing.
Yeah, that side of it's cool. It is online, it's not in person. But also I think that's fair because honestly, if you're finishing outside 80 to 100 in the country, you're not going to qualify for the games.
No.
Right? It's just not going to happen.
That year.
So, cool. So then you finish 80 to 100 or whatever, you qualify for the semis, you do the semis, and it's 18 people across the world. So this is where...
Which is insane.
This is where a bit of scrutiny comes in, right?
I don't know how they're going to...
So this is going to be really hard because they're going to be... Obviously, we're going to video because it's online. Plus, you have a qualified judge that's a level 1 qualified coach.
I'm pretty sure you need to have a judge and a head judge.
Okay, cool. So you still get judged, pretty heavily scrutinized. The videos are going to be gone through with a fine-tooth comb, I hope. Obviously, if there's only 18 spots.
Well, it's a lot of videos. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, 100%. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out because the biggest concern, right, is not they're not just watching the best 18 videos.
No.
Right? Because they're watching...
The ones that affect the top 18.
That's right, the ones that affect the top 18. You could finish in the world closer to the end of the semis, 490th.
We could have come 12th in one workout.
But you could have come first in a workout, right? Like you could have had the max... You might be just a weightlifting specialist. You hit the maximum clean and jerk, and then that affects your score by 1 point.
And I come 19th.
And then you come 19th, and then you don't get to go.
Yeah.
So they need to watch that video to make sure that's legit, and all of those other workouts that person's done is legit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot, right? So say maybe they've got 500 videos to watch times however many workouts.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of work, right? But I guess that is what it is. And then the in-person event, and then the games. Now, for most of us, probably not going to go to the semi-finals or the CrossFit Games, as in me, right?
Yeah.
Like, totally cool. So we've got to think about okay, well, why am I doing the Open? Right?
Why are you doing
Because I'm not going to the games, probably. I might, but you never know.
You never know.
Comes up,
everyone could.
It might be week 1, 30 ring muscle ups, week 2, 30 bar muscle ups for time,
Week 3.
Week 3, 30 bar muscle ups into 30 ring muscle ups for time.
And you reckon you'll qualify?
Yep.
Really?
100%. I'll qualify for that.
The games?
Or
semis?
At least semis. I'd bet my balls on it. There's not many things I'm that confident on.
Really?
But I'm 75 kilos, 77 on a good day, and I can ring muscle up.
Can you?
And here's the reason I say that. Because anyone that qualifies for semis or games these days is pretty damn big and strong.
Dense.
Thick, right?
With 2 C's?
Yes.
I've heard a new spelling for the word
and I'm
thick,
not
actually.
that. And that's going to slow them down.
Thick
And I can
with a
still
Q.
hang pretty well on the rings.
Yep.
So that's
so,
the only reason. That's the only reason I'd say it.
Yes.
But unless it's that, probably not going to be that. So probably not going to qualify. So why would I do the Open? So I'm going to do the Open because it's pretty fun, right? You don't know what the workout is. It's rare that we have that these days. So I'm still meaning to do that week of programming where we don't say what it is and you just rock up.
Oh, yeah.
So we're still going to do that. We'll do that in the gym for sure. But it's rare that you don't know what the workout is till Friday.
Yes.
And then you got to do it. And then not only have you got to do it, but you're doing it with a bunch of mates and there's camaraderie and there's competition and there's challenge and you have a beer afterwards and it's
fun. Yeah.
Right?
It brings everyone together.
It does.
Yeah.
It's a great excuse to go in, go hard, and now there'll be a number of people that might get their first movement or do most, if not all people, do better than they expected.
Well, you're under pressure.
You're under pressure, you're high adrenaline, you can use that to either lift more or go faster. It raises the intensity and it's a great time, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's super fun. I think that's the number one reason most people should be doing it.
A lot of people have said, I'm not quite ready yet. I'm going to do it next year.
Yep.
And there's so many times people have said that and they're like, I'm going to do it next year. And then they do it that year and they're like, I should have done it last year so I could compare how much better I've got.
Yeah, or even once they see the workouts, they're like, I could have done it.
Yeah.
So you're never going to be ready.
No.
Right. There's no expectation to win the Open.
I mean,
it's only the expectation you're putting on yourself in the Open workouts, right? So the biggest fear, or I think the biggest thing that holds people back, rightly so, is the fear of maybe embarrassment, right? So it's like, I know they're going to have chest to bar pull-ups and I can't do chest to bar pull-ups. So I'm going to be standing there looking at the pull-up bar and everyone's going to be, you can't do chest to bar pull-ups, right? And I can understand that fear, but at the same time, it's like going to the beach.
I just don't think anyone's going to be like, she can't do just chest to bar pull-ups, or you know what I mean?
No, this is what I'm saying. This is like going to the beach and thinking that everyone's looking at you and worrying about what shape you're in, right?
Yeah.
No one gives a shit.
No,
they're worried about themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So same in the gym. Everyone's more worried about themselves, and not in a bad way, than anyone else. So it's like, no one's going to be going, shit, you can't do a chest to bar pull up. It's more like, man, you got to that level, or I saw your effort in trying to get the chest to bar pull up and you got so damn close, or maybe you get one rep, awesome, Yeah. And not even that. I was talking to someone on Saturday or Friday, and they were like, yeah, but what if I can't do something? And I'm like, well, they said, I thought you had to just do it all as prescribed. Yeah, I'm like, no. So what you can do, and what we've done multiple times, is we want you to do either as prescribed or scale it as per the scaling divisions. Totally fine. But what we can do is, say you want to be on the RX leaderboard, right? Yeah. Because that's the thing. You don't want to go on the scaled leaderboard because you might RX the first 2 workouts, and then if you go scaled on the next one, you go to the bottom of the leaderboard. Yeah. So you go, well, okay, the start of this workout has a 500-meter row, and then the next movement is ring muscle ups. Yeah. So what you do, they'll have a split time. You do the 500-meter row as fast as you can. You tick the RX box. You put the score of 500 meters in 2 minutes, and So, your score's 2 minutes plus you didn't complete 30 reps of the ring muscle up. So you put 2 plus 30 or whatever the system breakdown is for the leaderboard. And instead of doing the ring muscle ups, you go as hard as you can on the row, and then we give you a scaled option so you can keep doing the workout, keep participating, but your score is just cut off where you stopped RXing the workout.
Yeah.
So you still be on the leaderboard.
And you get to still do the workout.
Get to still do the workout, get to still have fun. Bob's your uncle, right? So it's not like you'll ever be left standing at the aisle with like no one there, right? Like we're going to help you achieve whatever is appropriate for your level for that workout.
Yeah.
So
just like a class.
Which is every class.
Yeah.
That's right. It's the only difference is now you've got a judge and they're making sure you get the reps, but more often than not, they're encouraging more than they are no repping.
Yeah.
And
I love someone counting my reps for me.
yeah, me too.
Don't have to count.
Yeah, me too. Unless they get it wrong, then it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like, that's 50 double unders and they're like, 20?
Craig,
I'm like, that's not 20.
Craig would remember the one time he judged me with double unders.
Anyway,
yep.
Getting away from the point. So it's a fun time.
Yes, fun.
Right? So cool. And then you challenge yourself. Now there is a lot of like, CrossFit even say this, is like, you compare to how you went last year and see if you got better.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think that's accurate.
Yeah.
CrossFit's really accurate with a lot of things. We have points of performance. Say we're doing Fran. Hip crease below knee, full lockout of the thruster overhead with the elbow in line with the shoulder, hip open, knee fully extended, blah, 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 blah. Chin over the bar on the pull-up, straight arm at the bottom. Like we have those points of performance so we can go, yeah, you did Fran at this, in this amount of time, and then we did again 6 weeks later, and you were this much faster, you've gotten fitter. Unless we do the exact same workouts in the open every year, you can't really judge your fitness against last year.
Yes, and it also depends on who signs up and how many people sign up.
That's right. So then your position on the leaderboard is dictated by how many people sign up, who signed up, who did this workout, who didn't do this workout. So I don't think it's an accurate measure of personally where you are with your fitness. It gives you an idea of where you are in perspective of movements.
Yep.
It gives you an idea of where you are in your cohort, so against people your age and demographic. But it doesn't give you that exact, like, compared to last year, you're X amount fitter.
Yeah.
Unless they've done a repeat workout, in which case you can measure your progress, right?
Which they said they're going to do this year, actually, which is cool.
Yeah, so I don't totally agree with, like, CrossFit's take on, see how you're going against last year, because it's not entirely accurate.
Yeah.
Cool, but again, heaps of fun and a good way to have a throwdown in a safe environment, and yeah.
Yeah, and even if you don't want to do it, you can come watch as well. But
yeah,
to be honest, we're probably going to program the workout maybe in the class.
Most people that come and watch,
probably do it.
Most people I've seen that come and watch are like, shit, I should have just done it.
Yeah.
So, and I'll go, oh, well, I can just do the workouts anyway. And I'm like, yeah, but you're not involved. You're not like really involved in it.
Yeah.
So if people are like, oh, I don't want to spend the $20, it's like, well, look, honestly, and they've even said this year, that $20 is going to the athletes.
Yeah.
So if you're watching the CrossFit Games on ESPN or YouTube or wherever they televise it, and it's free, I feel like paying $20 to go in the open is the least you can do to contribute to the athletes at the games, and you're getting some enjoyment out of watching it. And not only that, you're supporting those athletes.
Yeah. Because
there's not enough money in the sport, right? It would be amazing if it was so much more.
Yeah.
But it's not, and that's all around viewership and sponsorships and all of those things. So hasn't got enough viewership to really warrant big wages for people like you.
Yeah.
So if we can contribute by just registering for the open, then that $20, it doesn't go to us, by the way, it goes straight to CrossFit.
Yeah.
And then they put it back into the sport, into the athletes and prizes and stuff. So, so that would be a reason. You're also part of the leaderboard. And it's kind of like, when someone says, yeah, I do CrossFit, and you're like, where? And they're like, this XYZ gym down the road that does functional training. It's kind of like the same thing, right?
Yeah.
I did the open. Did you? Did you register? No, I kind of just did it on my own in my garage. If I do it on my own in my garage, one, I'm not going to get the intensity, but two, I can kind of kid myself. I did it in my garage. I probably would have got a better score if, or
you give yourself an excuse.
Give yourself an excuse. You got no one really holding you accountable. Maybe I didn't hit the squat depth on that one. But, it'll do. Keep going. Right? Like, so be part of it is what I'd say. Yeah. Don't fall in the I'm sitting on my hands camp and I'll do the workouts and just and because also I think what that breeds is I'll do the workouts, and then the workouts come out and it's like, well, I'm not going to be good at that one. But no, I didn't do the first one. Oh, I did the second one. Smashed it because you love the second one, right? And then it's all the things you're good at. Yeah. And then you go, I beat most of the people in the gym. I'm fitter than all of them. But it's really you just did that workout on that day in your own time, at your own pace, and it's all the things you're good at. And you didn't bother with the other two because maybe they're not in your wheelhouse. Yeah. Right?
No one likes a cherry picker.
No. Now, this is the exact opposite. I wasn't going to go down this road, but this is the exact opposite of high rocks. Yeah. Right? And I'm not saying high rocks is a bad thing. I think it's good. It increases people's cardiovascular endurance. And it's amazing. More people doing fitness, the better. But this is why the open, I believe, is so much better because it's challenging you so much. Yeah. And it's putting you in uncomfortable places. Yeah. Now, if you're training just for this one modality all the time, bang, 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 bang. Imagine if the CrossFit Open, instead of the CrossFit Open, was one workout and was just Fran. You just had to do Fran every year, just one time, like high rocks, right? Different time domain, different workout, of course, but you're just training for that one thing. Yeah. You could get really good at that one thing. Yeah. Right? But then as soon as we add in other elements of fitness, you're like, oh shit, like I'm not so good anymore. Yes. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what CrossFit is. And that's why I like the exposure of, we don't get to, we commit. We're like, I'm doing it. And you get a little bit of nerves and anxiety of like, shit, what if this comes up? What if that comes up? Geez, if they make us do this, I'm not going to be able to do it. Like, I've got to make sure all my skills are intact. I've got to get a broad fitness, not a narrow definition of fitness. Yeah. Right? And high rocks is a narrow definition of fitness.
Some people could argue that there's strength in the sled push and the sled pull and fitness in the running. And I mean, there's no skill involved.
Yeah, I would say it's a narrow, I would say it's a very...
But yes, there's no 1RM lifting or...
There's no complex lifts. There's no... Like, I mean, I guess you could say there's some strength in the sled push, but it's not... But it's not like... It's not a full flexion. It's not a squat. No. So you're not demanding full strength through full range of motion. Yeah. You're going to have a clear advantage if you're a bigger, heavier athlete. Takes all the technicality out of it. You certainly need to have a good cardiovascular endurance, and you need to be able to train at a lower intensity for a longer duration. Now you're going to go, Rob, it's hot. I bet you feel like it's high intensity when you do that. That's not what I'm talking about. It would be hard. I'm not saying it's not difficult. What I'm saying is when you're working out for that duration, an hour, it's about an hour, right? Your intensity has to be lower. Yeah. It's like comparing, so take CrossFit and high rocks out of it, it's like comparing a 100-meter sprinter to a marathon runner. Yeah. The
lower you can keep your heart rate, the better you're going to do.
Yeah. The world record marathon runner is doing a 2-hour marathon. That for everyone is the highest of intensity for 2 hours. Insane. Yeah. Right? The 100-meter sprinter is working for 10 seconds. Yeah. That intensity has to be higher than his because he's only got to go hold on for 10 seconds. So that's 100% intensity.
Yeah, the effort is just 100%.
The effort is 100%. This guy...
It's like 60% for
60% for 2 hours. Yeah. Right? Doesn't mean that...
I mean, maybe more.
Like the 100-meter sprinter can't do that. Right? No. But he also...
Oh, he could, but it would be slow. Like
very, very slow. Yeah. But also the marathon runner, he can run 100 meters. And even if you compare him to him, his 100 meters is still going to be higher intensity than his 42 kilometers. Yes. Because it's such a short duration. Yeah. Anyway, we've kind of got off track.
Yep.
But this is why I like it, because it exposes us to all these varying domains. They might come up with a 40-minute workout for the open.
Yeah.
And then it's
I
like,
hope not.
what's that?
I hope not.
Yeah, me too. But then it's like, shit, like, okay, now I need to be okay in that duration, right? And the more workouts and the more we vary the competition, the better perspective we get of someone's broad, inclusive fitness.
Yeah.
Right. And so while saying that, we also can't put too much weight on the open because it's only 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's a snapshot of where you are in that particular time frame, on that particular night, within a given year.
Yeah.
Right. So I've got a knee injury at the moment. I'm not really squatting. And I'm like, shit, if squatting comes up in the open, if it's light, I might be able to do it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm going to have to scale it or just do what I can, right? If it's a back squat, I might have to back squat an empty barbell. I don't know.
Or if it's a 500 row into 30 back squats, you're going to have to do the 500
do the row.
and
that's it.
Score, yeah.
Yeah. So it is what it is, right? So it's a snapshot in time of where you're at, and that's totally cool. But you can still be involved.
Yeah. It's fun and exciting, and it's like we don't often get to have workouts that just come out and, you know what I mean, the day, and then do it that day, and
and it brings out the nerves and and it's cool. So
it's good to put ourselves in those environments.
I think it's like getting in the ice bath, right? Like every time I'm like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, but I don't do it, and I feel great when I get out. You know, so it's kind of like the open, right? It's just 3 ice baths, 1 a week for 3 weeks, and you're going to feel amazing once you've done it, and you might achieve something that you couldn't before. And
nothing you've not done before either. Like, it's all movements we do every day, every
100%.
week.
Yeah.
It's not going to be something weird.
Yeah, cool. So I'd say that's why we should do the open. Now, the Community Cup, I don't know how that's going to go yet. First year. We'll see how it plays out. I don't know if, like, for me, I kind of feel like the Open's the Community Cup.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but I think CrossFit are doing it because they feel like people want to compete more, is what I heard Boz say, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe.
So what have they said the Community Cup is?
So the Community Cup is where you'll get a level. So in the open, you'll get a level. So if you are in the top whatever percentage, maybe you're not in the elite, but
like say 2% to
outside,
10%.
2% to 10%. You might get a level 5, and then level 4, 3, 2, 1 down in percentages as you go. So then when you do the Community Cup, which will be an online event again in the gym, right? I get the workout comes out, and just like a normal workout of the day is blah, 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 blah. Level 5 is to do it as prescribed. These are your weights you're going to do. If you finished at level 4 in the open, you're going to have slightly lighter weight, maybe a different rep range. If you did level 3, lighter weight, different skill, so you're competing against people that are your level.
Yeah, which is cool. I think it's cool.
Yeah, so it should be kind of cool. And we'll just be dictated, I guess, by like.
I think it'd be cool.
You guys, the members, like if they're like, let's do it. Sweet, let's do it. You know, So.
And you can see if you're like at the top end of your level or the bottom end, and then next year you could try to get upper level or. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool. We'll see if it takes off, I guess. Be interesting to see. So it starts in the first weekend of March and goes for 3 weeks. We will be doing Friday nights, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Now.
So no Friday afternoon classes?
No Friday after classes. We'll go straight into the open. We'll still have open gym.
Yep.
So if you're like, I can't train, you can still train. Come in. We've got heaps of space.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then we'll have themes.
Yeah, we're going to have themes. So tell everyone about it.
So we'll have a theme a week. So 1 week, I don't know what the themes are yet.
Okay.
But
cool.
Or how we're going to decide what the themes are. Maybe we'll have a vote. Maybe the coaches can have a vote.
Yeah. Or we might even put it out. Put a poll out.
Yeah. Maybe 1 week will be, I don't know, African theme, and everyone can come in their leopard print tights and I don't know.
Cool.
Whatever.
Cool. Yeah, we discussed a few. You could have
Yeah.
country, you could have
Country,
like
yeah.
hip hop,
A
you could
music,
have maybe
yeah.
like music themes.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll put it out there and everyone can vote and
Yeah.
message.
Yeah, superheroes.
Yep.
That'd be funny, actually.
Yeah, superhero week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So we'll have a bit of fun with it, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
We'll give a best dressed prize each week as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And then the last week, barbecue, some beers,
Yeah.
the normal fun fair.
And if you can't make it on Friday nights to do the open workout, you can do it on Saturday during the specialty class times. So
Yep.
8:30, and then 9:30.
Yep.
We'll be running them then too if you have to do it on Saturday.
Yes.
But Friday's obviously the preferred.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Should we talk about the elephant in the room,
Yeah.
so to speak?
Yeah. So I guess CrossFit have come up with a new, well, not come up, but they've recently changed their, or updated their rule book for the 2026 season.
Yep.
25 season, sorry.
Yep.
And they've changed their rule, or I guess classification, around the gender policy and what you sign up as when you enter the open or the season, or
Yep.
yeah. What are your thoughts on it? And
Yeah, cool. So I guess I need to start. Can you just check the camera's still wrong? I just want to make sure I'm not out of battery. All
Yeah.
good? Yeah,
30,
sweet.
36.
So before I start, I need to preempt this by saying my understanding of the transgender community, pretty bad.
yeah.
Not as in they're bad, is my
Like
understanding
you
is
don't
bad.
understand.
Right?
Yeah.
Like just because I don't have any transgender people in my life.
Yeah.
And that's not good or bad, it's just my situation.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't want to pretend I understand what that community holds as important. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
right? So then anything I say here could be construed as like me being against them because I think they want a certain thing, but they don't want that, they want something else.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
You don't know what they
I don't know, and I should educate myself, but I've got a little bit happening at the moment, and I always do, and it's just not something I've put a lot of time into because it hasn't been in my life really,
Yeah.
you know? So my understanding is that generally speaking, from my point of view, there's a couple of ways of looking at it. One is we want to make sure it's fair for everyone. And what I've seen in other sports is that it impacts women's sport significantly if you get bad actors, right? And what I mean by a bad actor is I feel like there's probably a massive difference between, say, a trans woman that transitioned when they were 18 and they're now, say, 48, they've had 30 years of living as a woman, and they come in and jump in the CrossFit Games or any sport, right? I feel like there's a massive difference between that and then someone that's playing the game for different purposes than them actually really wanting to be a trans female, or trans woman, sorry.
Yeah.
So if someone is like, well, I'm just going to go in and collect medals, you know, and this happened in with Laurel Hubbard, I think is her name, the weightlifter, where she went in and broke all the female records by like 30 kilos in weightlifting.
Yeah, which is insane.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
Right? And it can't, I just can't help but think all of those females that have been weightlifting their whole life to get to that point as females, and they get to that point where they're holding the world record, they're the best in the world, dedicated their whole life to it. And then a trans woman comes in and just demolishes all of those records. Like, I just don't, that doesn't sit well with me. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like there has to be a place in between. Now, while the CrossFit Open is, CrossFit push it as a community event. It's a community open. We're all part of the open, right?
Yeah.
As I said earlier in the podcast, the CrossFit Open was designed to find the fittest people in the world.
Yes.
Now, let's say we get the trans woman that's been a woman for 30 years, and she comes in and competes as a woman, probably going to have no effect on
Yeah.
the leaderboard and anything really,
Yeah.
right? She'll do her thing, and it probably won't have a massive effect. And any benefit she had from transitioning, from going through puberty as a male, it's probably well and truly died off with all the hormones she's taking and over the years and that sort of stuff. But if we get a bad actor that comes in, you know, and just...
Even if they're not even to that extreme, even if they have just transitioned later in life, and they would still have the effects of...
Yeah. So, even if their intent's not bad, it could still be a disadvantage to, say, yourself, right? So say there's 18 spots, and that score we spoke about before, the one big, heavy clean and jerk, because they've had all this strength all their life, and then they've transitioned and they've maintained that strength, and they're not even close to, like, they're not going to beat tier anyway, probably, right?
Yep.
Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, if Ricky Garrard decided now he wanted to transition to...
So there's always that, right? The bad actor, but that would be the real bad actor.
Yeah.
But, like, let's go back a step. Even if they do that weight lift, and it means instead of getting 10th in that workout, you get 11th, and because you got 11th, you then fall outside the qualification rank, then you don't get to go to the CrossFit Games. I don't believe that's fair.
Yeah.
Right? But I also don't know what the answer is, because I'm like, well, okay, why don't we just have a transgender division?
Yep.
Right? Trans women and trans men. But then I'm like...
Is that going against...
That might not be what they want.
Yeah.
And I don't know. This is what I was saying. I don't know, right? They might be like, no, I deserve to compete as a female. I'm like, oh, well, I don't know, right? Like, so in my dumb 1981 brain, I feel like the fairest thing is to make it easy, trans women compete versus trans women, and trans men compete versus trans men.
Yeah.
But we also only see it one way, and that's why I see it as a problem, right? There's no real issue with trans men, because most of the time
they don't have an advantage.
They don't have an advantage.
Yeah.
So it only works one way, because there is an advantage that exists in certain circumstances.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's easy or right, it's difficult. Now, I had a conversation with someone as well that said, yeah, Rob, but what about, like, even the variation within females? Some females have more testosterone. So I should say females born as females. If I misspeak or say something wrong on this, I'm sorry, because I'm simply not up with it. I'm not trying to offend anyone. But women that were born as women, right? Even with that, it's like, Rob, there's a variance in some women have higher testosterone levels than others. And 100% they do, but that's why they get to go to the CrossFit Games, right? Because the same analogy is...
But it's not unnatural.
That's right. So same analogy is, I would love to play in the NBA, but I'm 5'7", right?
Yeah.
And there's other humans, like Shaq, or Michael Jordan even, middle of the run, 6'8", 7 foot, like... We're not the same. We're the same species, but we're different, right? Yeah. So that means I don't get to play in the NBA, but I still love it. It still means I get to. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not. It sucks. Yeah. It sucks, but I have to go. That sucks. Yeah. I don't get to play in the NBA.
There's the cards you were given.
That's right. So if we didn't have those variations, we wouldn't have sport.
Yes.
Because sport is competition, and some people have to be better than other people. Yeah. And what we love about sport is when the people that aren't as naturally gifted, and we see it often, just the people with more work ethic, to a point will overcome the others that are more genetically gifted. And we see that a lot in CrossFit.
Hard work beats talent.
Because you get these amazing athletes that come into CrossFit, genetically gifted, and they don't make it to the CrossFit Games because they haven't got that dogged determination or commitment to push themselves very hard every single day, right? So there's variances everywhere. I just don't want to see, I want to see a couple of things. One is, I want to see the trans community compete how they would like to compete, right? And I don't profess to knowing what that is exactly. And I also want women and men to be able to compete fairly against women and men, right? So without without scores or anything being disadvantaged, and women's sport going down the gurgler because now it's full of trans women that are dominating the space.
I feel like it's only just now getting to a point of women's sport being, you know,
celebrated.
Like,
yeah.
So
it's a hard one, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how to answer that, like how to make that work. And I don't know if CrossFit do.
No.
Right? Like I'm sure, I 100% know for a fact, it is not Dave Castro sitting there going, what are we going to do about the transgender community? I know. That's the rules, right? Yeah. They would have such a big cohort of people that they're bouncing ideas off, that they're talking about, that they're discussing, and trying to come up with a policy that works. And as I said, it's not the majority.
Yeah.
For most, I would say, trans women that are competing, they're going to have little to no effect on the leaderboard in terms of the elite level.
Yeah. But if they do, and when they do, because there will be a point.
That's right. But there's always, like I said, in every community, the trans community, the heterosexual male and female communities, there's shitty people everywhere, right? In every part of life, there's shitty people. So at some point, we're going to get a shitty person in that environment, and then that makes it unfair. So I don't know how you govern it. Well, I guess CrossFit have governed it to stop that shitty person.
Yeah. And
it might suck a bit that now the other 80 to 90 or 99% of the trans community are doing the right thing and probably won't cause an issue, that they then have to get put in that same group. But I just don't know how CrossFit would handle it any other way without really extreme testing.
Yeah.
Because
they would still they're still affecting someone's position somewhere on the leaderboard.
Well, that's true as well, right? So let's say you're one of our members at CrossAxed. You've been doing CrossFit for a year.
Yeah.
And you're like with your group of mates, and you really want to see where you sit in the world. You're probably going to get affected by it, even though it's only the open.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess there is that effect across the board. So
in terms of fairness, like it's just not fair.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. So it's hard, right? But I just don't know without, like, you would have to have quite a severe drug testing and hormone testing policy to allow it to cross over somehow. You know, like, and I just don't know how you do that in the open. You wouldn't be able to do it, right? Like,
not in the open,
at the higher levels, maybe you could do it, but even then, like, there's so much information out there about.
But like, if they suddenly, not to say they would, but if they suddenly were like, oh, I'm taking my hormones to make sure I'm on the right hormone level to compete, and I want to,
Yep.
And then suddenly they're like, I'm just not doing so good. Like, I just don't take my hormones today.
That's the bad actor, right? The cheat. Yeah. And there's cheaters in every.
I don't know how it works, but.
Yeah, me either. And there's cheaters in every division, right? Like, I don't know Ricky Garrod personally, right? Yeah. But he cheated. He took testosterone. Took steroids, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I'd be like, well, and a lot of people love Ricky, and I'm like, cool. I don't know him as a person. I'm not having a personal attack. Yeah. But
in the fairness of sport.
In fairness of sport, he shouldn't be competing.
Yeah. Well, he's had like.
He served his ban. Okay. But that gain of muscle mass doesn't go away. We know that for a fact. Yeah. Right? You might lose a little bit, but if he keeps training, that's staying there. Yeah. He's got the power, he's got the strength. Yeah. He's still at an advantage. So he might have had the genetics that he would never get that much muscle mass in his whole life if he didn't take steroids. Yeah. So then he's never there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's the way I look at it in terms of fairness. I'm like, life ban. You make make your bed, you lie in it. Like, if you want to take steroids and cheat, yes, he's young and he made a bad decision. I get it. We all make bad decisions. But that's one we know is wrong. Yeah. You're not allowed to take steroids. Yeah. Right? Knowingly took it to win. Yeah. Therefore, you no longer get to play in our sport.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
I think most would agree with that.
Yeah, and if you don't agree with it, let me give you this analogy. I would love to go to the CrossFit Games as a 45-year-old, right? Cool, want to go to CrossFit Games 45. I'm going to start taking steroids today. And I'm going to do a massive cycle. I'm going to get jacked, put on heaps of power, and I'm going to really train on my endurance. And I'm going to stop, maybe just after the Open next year.
Yep.
Right? And then go through, qualify for the games. And if you're cool with that, you're saying essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? If you're like, yeah, I don't see a problem with that. It's cheating, right?
It's not fair, yeah.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
So
I'm not doing that.
no, well, no one should be.
No.
Right? And again, there's probably people that are out there that might do that aren't getting caught.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I don't, sure. And people are like, everyone's on the gear in CrossFit. I'm like, I don't know.
A lot are, I'm sure, but
prove it to me.
I don't know.
When you prove it to me, it's like aliens. I hope there's aliens. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
And there's all these people going, there's aliens, we got this, we got that, there's all these things. But until I see it,
yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I hope that's clarified some things. I think, CrossFit's copying it about the transgender policy and whether that's right or wrong. I'm not 100% sure, but I just feel like they had to make a decision.
And they haven't actually said you can't compete.
No, I guess it's just from what I assume is
happen.
They have to compete on a different leaderboard than they want to, is what I'm assuming. Again, I don't know the community well enough to have a full understanding.
Yeah.
But in the essence of fairness, I think it's it probably needs to be what it is at the moment, and that's really hard for that community.
Yeah,
it sucks, but it's
because could CrossFit have one rule for the Open but a different rule for qualifying for the games?
I don't think they can, and this is why, right? Like it's like, well, the Open's just a community event, but it's not. The community aspect of the Open came after the decision to do the Open to find the fittest in the world.
Yeah.
It was always about finding the fittest person in the world. The fact that everyone can do it,
it's awesome,
is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's a start. But it's also, you also have to remember CrossFit is a business. They want as many people doing the Open as possible.
Yeah.
So then it's like, hey, come and join the Open community. It's a community event. It's for everyone. It's fun. And they're not wrong.
Yeah.
But they also want to make money.
Yeah.
Right? If they just go, come do the CrossFit Open, we're trying to find the fittest person on earth. This is where it starts. Do you want to be part of it? Cool, let's go. That's, I guess probably that's where we're getting some conflicting issues because people are looking at it going, it's just the Open.
Yeah.
But that can just affect who progresses to the semis, which affects who goes to the games.
Yeah.
So it's not just a community event. It's a qualifying stage for the CrossFit Open.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be looked at in terms of fairness.
Yes.
And then we rally around it because it's a fun community event. Now, if it's just our gym doing an event and after the Open means nothing, there's no next stage and there's no prize money and there's none of that.
Yeah.
Then I think the policy would be wrong. Let people compete how they want.
Yeah.
Because the end result's not a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Everyone compete in the category you want to compete in. I don't know. But the thing that doesn't muddy the water, the thing that makes it what it is because it's a qualifying event.
Yeah.
So I guess what they could do is have a separate event.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then that makes it a lot, right?
Yeah. And then it's segregating, which is the whole point.
Yeah.
Which is not the point.
Yes. Difficult one.
Yeah.
Right? So hopefully, and what I want to say also is, if anyone's listening to this and they're like, Rob, that's bullshit, or this is wrong, or you got this wrong, cool, just honestly give me a call.
Yeah.
Because I'm open to having a discussion and being educated on it.
Yeah.
And just having a
better understanding.
A better understanding, yeah. I think a lot of the online stuff is really difficult because people read into whatever they want to read into, and they read things however they want to read it, and you're not having a face-to-face conversation where you have body language and you have tone and you have pitch, and people really get an understanding of like, oh, this is not a malicious person. Yeah. This is just a different perspective, and that's totally fine, right? It's the old saying, like, I heard this meme once, is like, the wife's lying in bed and she's like, darling, come to bed, like it's getting late. And the husband is like, hang on a minute, darling, there's someone that's wrong on the internet. I've just got to sort it out. Like they're on, they're on their phone. Yeah. Someone on the internet's wrong. When I make this comment, everything will be better, right? Yeah. But it doesn't affect anything. It's like, it's a needle in a haystack. You're not like going to find it, right? You're not going to fix the problem. Yeah. It's too big. Yeah. And shouting into the abyss of online, I think, while it gives people an opportunity to express their opinions, sometimes it can get a bit hateful and a bit nasty and all that sort of shit. So, yeah. Yeah. Cool. Heaps of people have been asking about what's happening with CrossAxed, what's happening with the updates. We're still looking for the ideal place. We've got some options. Yep. And we really want to make sure it's the right option. So, yeah, if people are sending us links for buildings and stuff, amazing. Keep them coming. Shoot them to me. If you find something, hey, what about this? Amazing. I'll definitely look at it. And chances are I've probably already looked at it. Yeah. But that's okay. So yeah, just nothing in concrete yet that we can give any information on. So that's where it's at the moment. Yep. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Cool.
Sweet. Anything else? Nothing else coming up besides the Open at the moment. So yeah.
Let's go. The Open.
Let's go.
Let's do it. See you on the leaderboard.
See you on the leaderboard.
You'll be just below.